Hi there, and welcome to 272analytics.com's tutorial on how to create repeating sequences of numbers in Stata. In order to do so, the first step should be to install the seq command. It's a user-written command by Nick Cox, and we would just enter ssc space install space seq and press enter to install it because we will need this command. I already have it, but I just wanted to show you how it works. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a mocked up data set just to kind of motivate one possible scenario in which you might need to generate repeating sequences of numbers and to show you how Stata does that. So I'm going to start by creating a data set, an empty one of 144,000 observations. And I'm going to go ahead and use the set seed command, which means that if you follow my command exactly, you will get my data. Even though I'm drawing them randomly, you will be able to recreate that when you enter these data on your end. I'm just creating a euro to USD variable here, and I don't really know much about the actual exchange rate or what distribution it follows, or even if it's a normal distribution. I'm just using this to create a mocked up variable for you. And I'm assuming that the mean value of the euro to the dollar is 1.05 with a standard deviation of 0.1, and that it follows a normal distribution. And I've done that just so you can see that we've now populated our data set with these values. Let's say that you grab these data maybe off Yahoo Finance or some other source in a CSV file, and all you know is that they're associated with minutes. Okay, so you have 144,000 minutes worth of data that you've grabbed for these Forex data, and what you would like to do now is associate these data with days because you're interested in doing some daily analysis. How would you do that? Well, if these data came pre-formatted with the Stata date variables, you could use, collapse, which is a command in Stata. You could use some other sort of, official features to take those minute by minute data and transform them into days. But in this example, if you've just grabbed these data off a CSV file or some source like that, you don't really have that ability right off the bat. That's why I wanted to show you the nature of the data set I simulated, because in the real world that might be the kind of thing that you're working with. Or if you've conducted your own experiment, you might not really have coded anything thinking about how subsequently you would do it in Stata. So you would maybe have the data in the format that I'm showing you here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the sequence command to create a new variable, day. So I'm typing seq followed by day. And let me highlight this code for you and talk you through it. The number in parentheses after F is the first sequence of numbers that you want repeated. And I'm going to start with 1 because we'll say that, it's day 1 in the model when we start. I want it to repeat 1,440 times because we know these are minutes, and we know that they're 1,440 minutes per day. So that's how many times we want each number in the sequence to repeat, and we want it to repeat 100 times because we know that with a total of this many observations, it represents 100 days. This many minutes represents 100 days, which we have already calculated. So now we enter that command, and we see that every minute is now associated with a day in blocks, right? So each day recurs 1,440 times, all the way down to day 100. So now you have achieved that function of collapsing every minute into a day. Now, why would you want to do something like that? Well, here in my example, to continue the motivation, I'm going to enter the code for you here. Let's say that I just want to understand some basic aspects of this relationship between the euro and the dollar, but I want to understand it by day, not by minute. So here, for example, I can just use the command by day, comma, sort, colon, and summarize for EUR, and watch what happens when I do that. For each of the 100 days in the data set, I now have the mean, the standard deviation, the minimum value, and the maximum value for that day. And I could take these data and analyze them further or whatever, but this goes to show you that this is a fairly easy to envision real world application where you would want repeating sequences of numbers, and there might not be a quick way of doing that in Stata. That's where the seq command comes in really handy. And I can imagine it coming handy in many other formats. Like imagine if you're doing some kind of repeated measures experiment say you have 100 participants and they all do a similar task or the same task like 10 times in a row. And what you do is you just collect those data without stopping to associate each trial with a different person. So like at the end of the day, you have a data set that has 1,000 values, but you do not have a way of associating those with the 100 participants. That's another great case in which the sequence command could help you do that. So as I envision it, there are lots and lots of ways in which sequence would be useful for you in Stata. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you, and I would like to invite you to visit 272analytics.com for access to all our free statistics tutorials in Stata, SPSS, R, eViews, and Minitab. Here at 272analytics.com, we provide data consulting primarily to graduate students. Therefore, we work very closely with you in order to perfect your Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. That means helping you design surveys, getting your data input, assisting you with fashioning appropriate research questions and hypotheses, getting your data, extracting them, transforming them, cleaning them, putting them through analysis, interpreting them, explaining them to you so that at the end of the day, you know exactly what story your data tell, why they matter, what they mean in a manner that lets you write a perfect Chapter 4 following a perfect Chapter 3 and lets you defend your dissertation or thesis with complete confidence. We provide ethical consulting. It's not a writing service, so you will be responsible for taking our blueprint, our assistance, our consulting, and transforming them into an appropriate academic project for yourself. I'd also like to remind you that we provide the same services to undergraduate students who are working with quantitatively oriented assignments. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.